Mr. Johnson here with a tutorial on how to create a capture the flag game mode in Gimkit. What I would like you to do right now is pause the video and in a new tab beside the Ed puzzle, go ahead and open up your Gimkit map. The reason I want you to do this is um, if you watch this whole video and you see me do all these things, there's a good chance you're going to forget a lot of it by the time that you go to create your map. So throughout the video, I'm going to show you how to do something. I'm going to tell you, hey, pause this Ed puzzle, hop over, do it in your map. That way you don't forget. So go ahead and open a new tab and open up your map. Now that your map is open, if you haven't already, go to settings down here at the bottom left or options. Hit editing options. I told you this yesterday, but it will make your life so much easier if you weren't doing it yesterday to, first of all, zoom the camera out. That way you can see more of your map at one time. Change player speed to 3 for while you're editing so you can move around your map a lot faster. Show grid, definitely turn that on for today. As you're setting up some of the zones in your map, it makes it a lot easier if you can see the lines. So go back over to your game, change camera zoom all the way out, player speed to 3, and for show grid, turn it on. All right, now that your camera is set up the way that we need, let's start adding the basic mechanics for capture the flag mode. A lot of what we're doing today is going to be called devices. That's devices that help create the game. In devices, search for flag because obviously that's kind of the main component for capture the flag mode. Go ahead, put it wherever you want. I strongly recommended that in your map, if you were doing a capture the flag, that you did 2 clear sides. So hopefully you follow those directions. One, because it makes it easier when you're making your map for yourself to know which side is which, but it definitely makes it easier for the players too. If there's some type of visual clue of they're like, oh, I'm on the red team and this is my side, or I'm on the blue team and this is my side. Go ahead, put your first flag down where you want it, and then we're going to click on it. We need to assign the flag a color. When you're doing capture the flags, game modes, each team is kind of assigned a color. Since this side is blue, I'm going to make their flag blue because that makes sense for the player. Something to also keep in mind is the team. For now, we're just going to call this team 1 because this is the first team that we're doing. The one other thing that you need to adjust is to tell the game when the flag is captured. What we're going to do is we're actually going to give it the name of the other team. So, because it's saying, hey, when the blue flag is captured, what does that mean? Well, that means it's a red team score. So, one more time, what you're going to do is you're going to, in your game, put down a flag. Remember, it's in devices. Give it the color of whatever team this is. You can leave it team 1. And the last thing you need to do is tell the game basically who is scoring when this flag is captured. In this case, it's going to be the other color team, which for me is red. So I'm going to put red team score. Go over to your game and add that first flag. All right, now we're ready to add the flag for the other team. The easiest way to do this, if you weren't doing this yesterday, is the copy feature. Instead of having to go back all the way through the devices again and find the flag, I can just hover over it, press C on my keyboard. I've copied it, and I'm going to add the flag for the other team. I'm going to click on it to edit it. This is the flag for the red team, so I'm going to make it a red flag. The team that is protecting this, the red team, is going to be team 2. And remember, the last thing we need to edit is when this red flag is captured, we're going to make this blue team score. All right, we have our flags added. But right now, the game doesn't know what the zones are for each team. So the next device that we're going to add is we're going to search for flag again in device, except this time we're going to click on capture zone. I'm going to put this somewhere in the middle. The first thing I want to do is click on it. You got to find just the right spot. Hit change size. I'm going to make this the capture zone for one team. Hit done. All right, now we need to set up the details for the game so the game knows what's happening here. Um, so flag color, if you read it, it says it's the color of the flag the zone listens for. If this is in the blue team zone, we actually want this zone listening for the red flag. Because what it's telling it is that, hey, when the red flag gets over here in this zone, it's captured. Most of these settings, I think we can leave the same. I think we actually need to change this. So this would be a blue team score. So once again, what we've told the game is that this whole zone that I just set up here, when the red flag goes in it, the blue team scores. Go ahead, set up your first flag capture zone. So once again, you're going to devices, clicking on flag capture zone, and then doing these basic settings. All right, we're ready to set up the zone for the other team. Once again, the easiest way to do this is copy. So I'm going to hover over it, press C on my keyboard. If your zones are the same size, it actually makes your life really easy because I can just put it down. I don't even have to change the size of it. But there's a chance if your zones are a little different, you might need to click on it, hit change size, drag it to fit wherever you want. Now that this is set up to the right size, we need to change the settings. So the color of the flag that the zone listens for. So if this is the red team side, we want it listening for the blue flag. So I'm going to change that to blue. And when the blue flag enters this zone, it's telling us that the red team scored. So go ahead and set up your second flag capture zone. All right, there's one more specific device that we need to add for our game. The whole point of capture the flag is that you can play defense, right? So if, let's say, I'm on the red team and I go into the blue team zone, they can tag me while I'm in here to protect their flag. We added a flag capture zone, but that's not a tag zone. All that's telling the game is that, hey, when the opposite flag enters this area, that the team scored. But we still need to add a tag zone. So we're going to go back to devices. I'm going to search for tag and click tag zone. Keep in mind that the players can't see this in the game, so I'm just going to plop it down right here in the middle. We're going to click on it. It says the team that is allowed to tag other players in the zone. Right now it's team 1, which is my blue team, and that makes sense because this is their area. They should be the ones that are allowed to tag in here. The one thing that we need to change is they can't tag in the entire map. We just want it specific to this zone. So we're going to change that to zone. And now we need to hit change size. And we're going to drag it to cover the whole blue team side. So once again, go back to your map. You're going to go to devices. You're going to search for tag. You're going to add the tag zone, tell it which team to listen for, and set it to the correct size. All right, now that you've added one tag zone, we can add the second one. It's a little tricky right now because I have two things on top of each other. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I'm going to try copy. That was the wrong one. I need to delete that now. That wasn't smart. All right, maybe I'll just do it from scratch. So I'm going to go to devices, tag. I'm going to put it a little lower this time. What we're going to tell is that this is team 2 side. So they're the ones that get to tag, the red team. And we're going to change this again to zone. I'm going to change the size to cover the red team zone. And what this is saying is that, hey, anytime a different player from another team enters this zone, all the players on red 2 can tag them. All right, that is most of the base mechanics that you need for capture the flag. There's a little bit more complicated stuff we could do, such as trying to keep a leaderboard and a scoreboard. For now, we're just going to focus on the basic mechanics today. If you didn't know, most of you already know this from the tutorial. I'm going to give you a quick tip. there's two things we need to change that are really important for our game. The first is go into options and map options. We're going to go to teams. Right now, yours probably defaulted to free for all, but it's not a free for all. The capture the flag is a team game. So we're going to change it to split into size. And what that's telling the game is that, hey, if 20 players join, it's going to split it evenly into two teams of 10. You definitely need to leave the team size too. The other thing that we're going to change is ally indicators and enemy indicators. We want both of those turned on because right now they're probably off. So we want to change them to enabled. The reason that's important is a lot of times when people are playing the game, they don't know who's on their team. So what this is doing is it'll show anybody who's on their team, their name will be in green. Anybody who's not on their team, their name will be in red. So it makes it a lot easier for the players who are playing your game to know who's on their team and who isn't. Another device that's important for starting is the spawn pad. This is telling people where they're going to start in the game. What I would recommend is adding one right by the flag of a team. That way, when they spawn in to the game, right away they know which team they're on. Because otherwise they might not, and it's confusing. So I'm going to put down the spawn pad. I'm going to click on it. The only thing I really need to change is where it says allowed team. I don't want anybody to be able to spawn there because that can get confusing. So instead, we're going to remember, this is why it's important to remember which team is which color. My blue team was team 1. So what this is telling the game is that everybody on team 1, the blue team, is going to spawn right by their flag, and then that helps them know at the beginning of the game which team they're on. We need to add one for our other team, so I'm going to press copy. I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change this to team 2. So now everybody who's on the team 2 or the red team, they will spawn right by their flag, and that helps them know which side they're on at the start of the game. Last thing, if you want, and it's optional, if you want to add another element of adding like a weapon to the game, such as like a snowball launcher or a slingshot, it can make it more fun so people get just a little bit more way to protect themselves. You can go to add, under devices, search for starting inventory. Once again, this is something they don't see in the game, so you can put it wherever you want. And you can choose an item to give people at the start. So for example, I can give them just like a basic slingshot. And it just makes the game maybe a little bit more fun. But once again, that last part is optional. You don't have to add that if you don't want to. So go ahead, whenever you've added all of these features, it's always a good idea to play test. So join the game. It'll automatically assign you to one side. So just make sure that you can go to the other side, capture their flag, and actually bring it back to your side and see if all the game mechanics work.